Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, so great. There's so many people here. So hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm just going to let a few more people in the room. We're going to wait just a minute or two to let everyone in. Love it. There's so many people. So good. So hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy February. It's so good to see you all here again. And I'll be here with you. I'm excited. Today we're going to be covering something super cool. And okay, I'm gonna turn off the waiting room so I don't have to let people in. They just come right on in. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna get this bigger. Hold on just a second. That is wrong. How are you guys doing today? Put in the comments. How are you guys, or in the chat? How are you guys today? How are you? How are all the things? Alive. Well, I'm glad we have someone who's alive. It's good. I assume you're all alive, which is perfect. Who's doing okay? Bronnan's amazing. Love that. Love that you're doing amazing. That's great. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Well, hi, everybody. Okay, welcome to the weekly Cultivate Your Brand series. If you didn't know, we do this training, we do a different training every single week in order to help you understand how to cultivate your brand and all of the different aspects of building a brand that come with either being a professional in your field or being a business owner, whatever that looks like. This isn't only for people who are business owners. This series is for people who really are committed to being professionals in their field and having a solid personal brand that they can be committed to. So this week is all about being wildly influential through networking. Now, I have a question for everybody. You know, when you think about networking, like scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to actually network? I saw a lot of people who were not excited on the when we were advertising this. So I'm really interested to see who we've got in the room today and how you feel about networking. Okay, hold on, I gotta set this up so I can see my chat. This is not working. Okay, so we got a 4. Okay, 5 and 6. Tara loves it with like-minded women. Same, I feel that one. Bronwyn loves to network. Depends for Corey. -5 for Kyle. I knew we'd have some of those here. Katie's a -0. Can be -0. 0 is great. Awesome. 2 like-minded women and food. Food helps. I love it, but it wears on me emotionally. All right, so we're all on the same page. Some people love it, some people don't. Like it with like-minded people, and food helps. So fantastic. So I agree that food helps. I agree. If you don't have something to say, just put food in your mouth and I don't know. So how do we becoming wildly influential through networking? So my name is Taylor Douglas, and I am going to be leading this training for you today. As you can see here, sometimes I have really long hair and sometimes I don't. So I want to tell you a little bit about me and a little bit why I am sharing this training with you today. So these are some of the things that I have personally done in my journey in business as both an employee, a contractor, a business owner. I've kind of done all the things. I started working with people when I joined a direct sales company when I was just 17 years old. It was the first time I'd been introduced to really selling something directly to another human being, and that you could actually create money out of creating relationships. I got into direct sales and started doing health coaching. Along the way, I opened a nutrition club. I closed that nutrition club. I had lots, probably like 20 different jobs along the way, all where you had to talk to other human beings. And as things progressed, I decided I wanted to go into business. I wanted to start speaking. And so I went to school, and I have a business degree in business management. And my ultimate goal at school was to connect with the people I needed to connect with in order to push my career forward. I learned a lot while I was in school, and a lot of really valuable lessons about how to network in a way that actually helps you to make connections, get opportunities, and actually make more money. So since getting my business degree, I've done work in e-commerce. I have been speaking, doing retreats, branding, and I even worked in private equity where we owned 8 different small businesses all at the exact same time. And I was in charge of doing a lot of the operational management and like the people management there. And it was fascinating to me to see just how important it was to have a really healthy network around you. But the way that I got into all of these things was actually through networking. It was through meeting people and through forming these relationships. Well, that is not the right spot. Hold on. It just went all the way to the end. Hold on, let me reshare my screen. Went all the way to the end of the presentation. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What kind of opportunities have you gotten in your life from doing networking? Summit and podcasts. Most of my business comes from referrals. Yeah. Internal growth. I love that. All of my new opportunities come from my network. I never search for work opportunities. I love that, Katie. Friendships. That's a really good one, Johanna. Most people don't think of that when they think of networking. They think specifically only about business. And I can tell you the best way to find friendships is by networking. And what is dating if it's not networking, right? People are the core of the things in my business. I love that, Bronwyn. So, found some biz besties. So all of you guys have probably discovered this. This truth. If you're doing business in any way, business is made up of a bunch of human beings. So if you're doing business, there is a wild chance that you're going to have to deal with humans at some point because, humans equal business. So businesses are made up of a human, that had an idea to sell to other human beings, and they hire human beings to sell human beings the things that they created for those human beings, right? And then if you are running a business, you need human beings in order to buy the things that your business is selling. So if you are human avoidant, you will have a hard time in business, I've discovered. Okay, so if you can master or even just harness some of the power of interacting with other human beings, you can go further, farther, and much faster. Some of the most recent things that I have gotten from being masterful at networking is I got an opportunity to speak at a summit with some really powerful people simply from showing up on my social media and connecting with the right people in the right way. It was not something I looked for. I've gotten positions, I've gotten jobs. I've had people literally just give me money because they wanted to work with me at some point, but I had no idea how. And that's one of the most wild experiences I've ever had in my life. So networking is really an influence game. If you have never read this book, take a screenshot of this. This book will help you to understand exactly how to influence people in a way that is kind of from the heart and like from a place that is not like the sleazy, I really want to like manipulate and get people what to do, or tell people what to do, but actually forming real influence with other human beings. Okay, so here's some of the things we're going to learn today. Okay, we're going to talk about some of the misconceptions about networking and influence. I'll give you a five-step system to connect with strangers when you literally have no idea what to talk about. Who here hates small talk? I hate small talk, and this system actually helped me when you're in those situations where like that's kind of what you have to do, like when you have no idea who somebody is and you have to small talk with them to like get into a conversation. I'm going to give you a system that will help you to know what to say and how to talk to them. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the mindset of building connections that actually last, so that you don't go to all this effort in learning how to network and then, you know, nothing actually comes from it. Small talk is agony, Brownman says. I agree 100%. And then we're going to actually create a networking plan. I'm going to give you a PDF so you can create your own plan for networking, so that the next time you need some new connections, you can actually decide how you're going to get those and what you're going to do. Okay, so here we go. What do you, when you think of networking, what do you think of? Put in the chat. What do you think of when I say networking? Meeting people on purpose. Very good, Kyle. Making connections, interacting with people, connecting, mutual back and forth communications. Some really good answers here. Chamber of Commerce socials. Meeting people on my terms. I like that, Bronwyn. Listening to other people's sales pitches. Yeah, that one, that definitely resonates. If you've ever been to a networking event, it does feel like that a lot. Expanding my circle, weird business meetings where people just exchange business cards. 80s style conference meetups, yuck. Connecting with other people. Also, you can see there's a lot of both positive and negative associations with the word networking. I know that when I first started networking, it was this really painful experience where I would show up, I would do my I would go to actual networking events. I would do a really awkward like introduction of who I was, you know, what I was trying to sell or whatever, and then go sit and then just stare at everyone from my chair as everybody, you know, interacted with each other at the end. And I never got any clients out of doing that. And so I had to figure out a different way. Okay, so here's misconception number one about networking. Networking happens in networking events. True or false, right? This is a very, very false statement. Networking is a process, right? It's an actual doing. It's a process of making connections, building those relationships, and it doesn't matter where that happens. A lot of us, and all of you, I am assuming, came to this particular thing because of the internet, right? We have all met over the internet. Some of us have never met in person. Some of us have spent lots of time together in person. But the thing is that it's a relationship, and you can see there the, you know, ship of relation over there in the corner. And I want you to think about that. Like when you think about networking, it is this, think about a ship, right? There's water and there's, you know, a boat that's supposed to stay afloat. And it's all built on, you know, relationships. Misconception number two is that networking is a waste of time. Sorry, I had to put that in there. It made me laugh so hard. Networking is a waste of time. Networking without intention is most definitely a waste of your time and energy. But when you do it with intention, it can be a very fruitful endeavor for you. Misconception number three is that you're either good at it or you're not. Who here feels like that? Like, I'm just not good at that and I will never be good at it. So I'm going to avoid that completely, or I'll just do it really uncomfortably. The truth really is that networking is actually a skill set. It's not a personality type. It does not matter if you are an extrovert or an introvert. It doesn't matter whether you like people or you don't like people. What it really is it's a skill set of, connecting, forming a relationship, and then cultivating the longevity of that relationship in order to have business success or relationship, some sort of relationship form. Misconception number 4 is that networking will make you money right now. I ran across this misconception when I was doing, direct sales. Like, hey, well, you need to make some sales, go meet some people. Who here has really likes to buy things from people that you just met a second ago that are really, they really want you to buy their thing? Like, you really like buying things from people that are, in this place of really needing your money. If you approach networking with an I need money right now kind of mindset, you will, number one, be very frustrated, but the energy you put out will not bring you the clients that or relationships that you want. Networking, just like branding, it's a long game. If you go into it with an I need money right now mindset, it's not going to go well. Right? It's not going to go well for you. And number 5 is being strategic about networking is unethical, right? Intentionally forming relationships. When really having a people strategy is an intelligent way to make sure that you actually end up with business or social relationships with the right people. Just like if you want to get married, dating is a strategy, right? You should have a strategy of the kind of people you want to, the people you want to meet, why you want to meet them, what you want that relationship to look like. And in fact, this secret of actually creating your own people strategy has been the thing that has helped me to really magnify how influential I get to be inside of my circles. Because when I first started learning about this, I was not somebody that was influential in my circles. And I want to share that for just a second. Can you guys see me now instead of my screen? Nods. I can see people's heads. Yeah. No? I'm just sharing. Okay. Okay, so when I first started learning about networking and people, I was not someone who had influence. People that meet me now don't understand how that's possible. But I used to be really, really bad with other human beings. I was only concerned literally about myself, and I had no idea how to actually reach out here and connect with others in order to form relationships that were mutually beneficial. And so I was, in the most simplest of terms, like the most toxic marketer you could possibly, meet. I was, yeah, I don't know how to share more about that, but it was really bad. So I've learned all of this literally from my own experiences, and this is not regurgitated information, just so you know. Okay, so what? Guys, I messed up my slides so bad. Okay, here we go. So this is the 5-step system to connect with strangers when you have literally no idea what to talk about. This system is called Forge. F-O-R-G-E. It's the ultimate conversation starter system to get people talking to you without you having to be interesting. Who here is, you have a hard time being interesting? I have a hard time being interesting in new groups of human beings where I've never been there before. Okay, so the pro tip about influence, this isn't about you, right? Having these conversations, you don't even have to say anything about you at all inside of these conversations. When people feel like they're being listened to, they feel important, and when they feel important, they think you're important. Okay, so here's what Forge stands for. This will be in your worksheet that you get, but you can also take screenshots if you need one. This stands for family and friends, occupation, recreation, goals, and experiences. This is not a specific order that you have to have a conversation with them in. You don't have to talk about these things in this order. It is just a system to help you find a subject to talk to another human being about that you can actually connect on and naturally have a conversation about. Okay, so here's some ideas for your screenshots. When I first meet somebody, one of the easiest ways to start talking to them is, if you go to a networking event, if you go to some type of other event, if you message someone on, social media and you're connecting with them, some of the easiest ways to start talking to them is just talk about them and their family and their friends and their own personal life situation. These are some examples, but I'm going to tell you how this actually can lead easily into a conversation. Say like, hey, what's your name? Obviously on social media, you don't have to ask them their name. And I recommend that you don't, because it's weird. Just kidding. Like, hey, what's your name? Like if you're just meeting them, you're like, do you live around here? Are you from around here? Like if they're like, yeah, I am, you're like, oh, how long have you lived here? Or how did you, if they say, oh, well, we moved here from California, like, oh, well, how did you end up here? Did you move here like, with your family? If you know where they live, if you know where they live, you can make assumptions, say like, you live in Salt Lake, right? Or you live in Dallas, right? If you know like a little bit about them. And you say, how long have you been here? Are you from here? If they're like, no, I'm not from here. We moved from California. Like, did you come? Oh, did you come with your family? And they're like, oh yeah, I came with my parents, or I came with my wife. Like this tells you, okay, either they have a wife or they don't, or a spouse, and you can start asking questions about those things. Like, are you married? Do you have kids? Like, how old are they? Like, and you can just lead the conversation in a way that gets them talking about their life. And the most natural next step to talk about is, what do they do for work? If you're somewhere where you're intentionally networking, the odds are that they run a business or they have a job and they're purposefully, trying to tell people about that. And so this is a really easy one if you're in actual networking settings. What do you do for work? What does your business do? How long have you had your business? You can even ask some philosophical questions, like if you had to completely start over, in your business, what would you do? Do you have a team? And just be really fascinated and interested in like what they have going on. And the quicker you do this, and you can learn how to just be interested in what's on the other side of the answer to your question, the simpler and easier it is to get past the small talk and into like the talk that actually is comfortable and forms these great relationships. Okay. The next one is recreation. What do you do when you're not working? What do you like to do for fun? What's something that you're really into right now? What's a show that you're watching? Do you have any recommendations for, something I could do around town this weekend? What do you like about the things that you do? Oh, I've always wanted to try that, when they tell you about things that they do that you don't do, but you maybe have wanted to try it. Or I am one of those people that can be really honest, be like, wow, I would never want to do that, but I'm so glad you love to do it, because that thing deserves to have somebody. That thing deserves to have somebody like to do it. That's what I always say. I'm glad someone likes it. I'll answer your question in just a second, Corey. Okay, wow, I've always wanted to try that. I want to do that. So you're just asking them leading questions, and most people will land on something and that they can talk about, and then you almost don't have to ask any more questions. And then the other one is goals. You can talk to people about what they're up to in their life. What's next for you right now? Are you planning on joining this program? Like if you're at something, like, are you planning on joining this? Like, tell me what you think about it. What does your business look like in your wildest dreams? Like, where do you want your business to be in 10 years? Like talking to them about, where they're going. And the last one is experiences. If you have any type of shared experience, you can start talking about that. If you're at a networking event, you can literally comment on like, wow, this room is very small. Like, and you can just state facts from like your environment if you're around somebody. And usually if you're not someone who can comfortably lead this kind of conversation, normally the other person will pick up, leading. But I will say, if you can learn how to lead, you have a lot more power in the conversation than you do. And if you don't like talking about yourself, and that's something that's uncomfortable for you, this is a really simple way to get somebody else talking, so you can do more listening than you do talking. So that's what this is. It's like it's a natural flow of helping you to be able to get the conversation to flow naturally, and it's just really a lot of questions. So Corey said, this may sound like an odd question, but for someone who doesn't like being on the receiving end of small talk, how do you make small talk without seeming too stalkery? Okay, well, it's all the energy that you put in it. Like saying, oh, did you move here with your wife is very different than like, where's your wife? Like it's like a different kind of question, even though you're kind of asking like the same thing. And so if you're not a stalkery person, you most likely won't seem like a stalker. And if you do, say, hey, I feel like I'm a stalker right now. And they'll probably be like, no, it's fine, right? So the key is lots of questions. And this is also your key to getting out of answering the questions other people are asking you. You can literally just ask them a question in the wake of their question and not answer it if you don't want to. Okay, guys, so now we're going to go into the mindsets to build connections that actually last. So intentional networking is both attraction and action. Okay, so you're not only attracting people, but you're taking action inside of actually forming these relationships. And it's all strategy. And if you don't work well inside of strategy, right, if you're not a super logical person, I want you to understand that attraction is also a very powerful method. And this strategy is actually both all in one. My own strategy for this is you want to put yourself inside of the environments where the people you want to connect with are. Okay, if you want to be connecting with high-level business owners, if you do that in your business, you want to be going where high-level business owners are going to be. Okay, so that's probably not, I think, where would those people not be? You know, they're not usually spending their time, you know, doing things that are unintentional.
What are you doing, honey?
Higher-level people. If you're working with people, like maybe you don't own a business that serves business owners, right? You are serving moms. Where do moms hang out? At the park, on social media, like it's like finding where those people are and putting yourself inside of their environment.
Have poop come out?
So that you can actually be someone who attracts them to you inside of, you know, your intentional actions that you take.
Okay.
And you have to know this, not every
Good thing you're home
connection
then.
or result in some sort of business outcome. Right? If you think that every connection is going to result in business outcome, then you're just mistaken, because do you do business with every single person
Hopefully by today
that you meet?
it'll be all the way out.
Oh, it's Seidel. Do I need to mute Seidel? I can't see her. Hold on. Where is she? Oh, I can't find her. There she is. Okay, there we go. Better. Oh, I'm clicking stuff, guys. Okay. Back to this. So not every connection is going to be fruitful or result in a business outcome, but the connections are worth making anyways. And so when you network, you have to focus on building these connections with the right people at the right time. Is an actual networking event like the right place and the right time to meet the right people? Yeah, it can be. Is it the right time to sit down and try to fill out a contract with somebody? Probably not. It's probably not the right place at the right time. And so that is something I would take into consideration is, you know, is this the proper time for this? Or do I need to take this connection that I'm making and actually just pull it outside of this particular place and cultivate the connection on the other side? And then following up, right? Pushing your relationships forward. Who here has ever experienced me having conversations with them outside of maybe interacting on social media or something, and like regularly having conversations with you outside of like the experiences that we've had? You know, there's a few people here that are not showing their faces that would have their hands raised. But most of you are here because either Beth or I have had some sort of follow-up inside of our relationships. And whether that has been just commenting on your social media, or it is actually forming like business relationships where you have purchased something from us or we've purchased something from you. You know, it's the intentional reconnection after the initial connection that helps you to push the relationships forward. Are there any questions so far? Did I miss any questions? I can't see the chat. Hold on, there it is. Kyle says we've interacted a few times. Yes, good. So this is my own particular philosophy about networking that is a little bit different than most people. Most people go to, they either go to networking events, they go to other events, they you know, join Facebook groups, wherever you're looking, you know, to network with people, and they go to try to find their ideal client. While I am all for looking for your ideal client and being in their environment, the people you really want to focus on knowing are your ideal clients' friends and mentors and your ideal mentors, because those people, you can form relationships with them that don't feel like you're trying to sell them something. And then as they get to know you, or they're in your space, or they're on your social media, and they, you know, get exposure to your brand, they will know people they can send to you. And if they like and know and trust you, they will send those people to you. Some of my most powerful relationships have been formed out of me going to places that were way out of what's the right word? Like, I don't want to say like out of my league. That's not like the wording I like to use, because I fully believe in using your environment to, pull you up. But the people there were not my ideal client. They were not people who would purchase something from me. They're people with, multi-million-dollar businesses that don't need me to teach them about networking, or they don't need me to do branding because they have all of this branding stuff. But they know people who know people who know people who know people. And that is the long game of networking. You can form powerful relationships intentionally with those people, or they can help you find the relationships that you actually need. So how can you start meeting the people that you need to meet? You can start meeting them on the internet, at networking meetings, at other kinds of events, at recreational activities, and things that are non-business related. In fact, these are the best places to meet people because they are not in a space of needing to, the non-business related things are where people are not focused on trying to sell their own thing. And so you can actually get into a space with them where you can have an actual conversation instead of the anxieties of trying to have to meet everybody in the room. Okay, but you seriously, like, if you think that, you aren't made for networking, I want you to know that, you are the key to your success in building successful connections and networks. You really are the key to it, because there is not another you, and you are powerful and you are amazing. Okay, but another side to this is knowing for you how you function. Right? If you have a lot of social anxiety in really large events, going to large events to make business connections or networking connections is not going to be a good strategy for you. And so I am not here to tell you that you should get so far out of your comfort zone that you can't function. I'm just here to help you find the specific way that networking needs to work for you so that you can intentionally network and build your business or your relationships. This is my own strategy for networking. I want to connect with people who are going in a similar direction as me at live events and on social media. So these are people, for me personally, who already own businesses, who are working on themselves. They have a similar mindset to me. They have that mindset of personal growth, and they're interacting with people intentionally on social media. They are not they're generally uplifting other people, and it's how I find if they're like my person or not. What are they doing? Can I see it on the outside? Because what people show you on the outside is generally how they're going to show up. And so if you are doing this just on the surface level, can I connect with this person? Okay, what are they doing? You can kind of evaluate that surface level to see if it's worth just pursuing a relationship. I want to connect with people who are already doing what I want to do, or are at a level that I want to be at. Because like I said earlier, I fully believe that your environment will determine the kind of relationships that you have. And so if you want to build your business here, you want to be connecting with people who are here, here, and here, not because they have something you need to buy, but because their knowledge and their energy will trickle down and be like surround you. And so you can actually lift yourself up energetically around them in order to, learn more and get more information out of those spaces. I don't use business cards. I want to get everybody's phone number or social media account because I want to connect with them directly, and I don't want to waste my time having to like put their phone numbers in my phone later, or losing the business cards, or like losing a powerful connection that I needed. And so I don't do business cards. I connect with them directly. I send them a text message or a voice or a social media message immediately, so that we get that immediate connection. Without that, the last pieces of my strategy are contributing knowledge freely, but within boundaries. So when I say contribution, I don't mean that you should go out and give absolutely everybody your feedback, that you should spend hours and hours, giving away your knowledge or your information, but you should intentionally share your knowledge with people who need it, and share, like the piece that's going to help them, without giving away too much of yourself or your time, so that you build a reputation for being someone that, you know, people can rely on, that people can come to for information, and then hold your boundaries, right? There's a whole different conversation around that. Don't overgive to everyone, but give knowledge freely in a way that actually helps you build more connections. I have a specific example of this week is I do some design and logos. And so I saw someone post on Facebook about like, help me choose my new logo. And it was 4 logos that were, they were okay. They were okay. They definitely were not professional logos, and I knew they were not at a level that she would want them to be at or that would reflect like her professionalism. So what I did was I said, you know, hey, here's my feedback, my 1, 2, 3 feedback. But I'm happy to just hop into like a 10-minute conversation with you really quick to just like, let's just nail down what you want your logo to be, and I'll give you all the feedback that you need in that 10 minutes. And then you can go take it to your person who's doing your logo and like give them feedback and actually get what you need. She took all of my feedback that I gave her because I gave it to her freely. I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't want her to pay me for it. I wasn't like, hey, I can do logos. I can do yours because yours is terrible. Like, I didn't do that, right? I just gave her feedback on what she was doing already, so that now I'm a resource, right? Now she's like, what else do you do? And that's the experience that I've had most of the time when contributing in that way is when you give away that, you know, minuscule free contribution that helps them in that exact spot that they're in, then they want to know what else there is to do. What else do you do? How can I, you know, they may not ask, how can I pay you for something, right? But they're interested in that next step or that next conversation with you, and the relationship, you know, pushes forward. And then follow-up strategies. This is the biggest piece that I learned. It took me years to learn how to actually be good at following up with connections. And like I said, I get people's phone numbers or social media so that I can actually follow up. I'm pretty sure that I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars from not following up with connections, either people who were interested in what I had to do or what I have to give them, or just simply forgetting that people, you know, exist. Because, you know, I know some of you here are neurodiverse like me, and so you might actually just forget that these human beings exist. And so having a follow-up system where you can actually put people's names so you can go follow up with them later is it's a really great strategy for anyone, no matter what your brain type is. So now we're going to create your networking plan. So I'm going to share the link here in the comments or in the chat. I'm going to grab it. And this is a Canva link. It's a template. This is a Canva template that you can go make your own. There's spots for you to fill out the information, and we're going to go quickly through what all of the pieces are, and I'm going to put you into breakout rooms so you can actually do this yourself with a few other people. And let me see here. Okay, so while you get that set up, I'm just going to tell you kind of, you know, what's on it. If anyone has issues, let me know. And if you don't, like, if you are like, oh, I don't have Canva, I can't set that up right now, I am going to go through the questions right here in just a second. So if you want to write them down, that's also an option for you if you need that. So the first thing in a networking plan is, what is your goal with networking, right? My goal with networking is most often not to find clients. And that's just my personal goal, and yours can be very different. Mine is to form, you know, a wide network of a variety of type of business owners that are like doing what I consider to be like high level intentional things with their businesses and out there to like make a difference in the world. Like, that is my ultimate networking goal. And I want to be known in my network like as somebody that contributes to that. And that actually is the same thing. What do you want to be known for? Like I just said, I want to be known for being like one of those people in that network. I want to be known for lifting people up, providing really great information, and helping people like, you know, reach their next level. Who are you trying to meet? Like I said, remember, there are those 3 categories, you know, your peers, you're trying to meet peers, you're trying to meet your peers, friends and mentors, and you're trying to meet your, you know, either people who you want to be mentored by or people that you want to be able to match the energy of what they're doing in their businesses or their lives. This doesn't have to be surrounded only around business. So where can you find those people? This is where you want to brainstorm. Where are those people going? And what resources are available to you to actually meet those people? When I moved to Dallas, I did not know anybody here. I had a really strong business network in Salt Lake when I lived there. And we moved here. I knew absolutely nobody. And I did not know where to find them. And it was the middle of, the pandemic. And so things were not quite set up in a way where I could just easily go meet people. So I started looking for events that were possibly happening. Most of them were online. I started looking for events. I looked for coffee shops so that I could start to meet people in person. You don't have to do that if you're not super extroverted like I am. I've literally spent years developing my ability to go up to someone and have a conversation. So just so you know, you can do it, I promise. I started looking at Facebook groups. Who here in town is, who are the business leaders here in town? And I started looking for those people on Eventbrite. I started looking on Facebook. I started looking at all these places on Instagram. Instagram is a great place to find people in your area because people generally put their city. So you can look up, I looked up Dallas business, and I would look up people who were using those hashtags and start connecting with them and starting to expand that network. I also asked in my local mom groups, who here runs a business? And so that I could connect with them, so that I knew who my people were. And that was helpful to immediately start getting connections in my new area when I literally knew absolutely no people. How can you create a mutual exchange? So this is where you give something and you get something. You can't really control what people give you, but you can control what you want to ask for. What are you looking for out of your connections? Do you want more connections? If you looking to make more connections, you can ask them to introduce them to their friends. Who are you hanging out with? What events are you going to, and getting the information? Or maybe you're looking for something really specific in your business and you're actually looking to hire somebody or, whatever. And so creating that mutual exchange, the thing that you have to do here is know what you want and then know what you can give. Can you give more connections? Can you give resources? Can you give information? What is it that you can create to give that mutual exchange? And maybe they just want, your friendship. You'll know that more as you do your own networking. Okay, what's your follow-up plan? This is where you want to really get strategic and just come up with ideas around what kind of plan can you actually create to follow up with new connections that you're making? Because going out and connecting with new people is a fruitless endeavor if you can never have a conversation with them again. I didn't follow my own rules on this a few weeks ago, and I met someone in a coffee shop who he started this whole manufacturing company that has to do with crypto and selling real products with crypto and money, and it was this really, really fascinating concept. And I did not connect with him. I didn't get his phone number or connect with him on social media, so I can't follow up with him. There is almost no way for me to do so. And I've already tried to find his contact information, because after that, I've had multiple instances where I met someone that I wanted to introduce to him, but I can't now because I didn't take the opportunity to actually connect with him. And so your follow-up plan is how are you going to get their information so that you can follow up with them? And figuring out what that needs to look like for you. That one of the simplest ways to do this is having all of your social medias set up on every social media platform, so that when you meet somebody, you can say, hey, what social media platform are you on? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? Whatever, and actually connect with them. And then what I do is take a screenshot so that I can go back just later in the day after I meet them and say, hey, it was so great to meet you. And just compliment them on something that we talked about. And so that's my general follow-up plan. And then I feel into if I want to push it further than that or not, based on who they are and if they respond or whatever. How can you nurture your new connections? What are some ways that you actually can nurture your connections? Because relationships, unlike what most people believe, relationships are not formed on accident. Some of them are, right? We don't remember really how, we met our childhood best friends or whatever, but most relationships are nurtured and cultivated along the way. And so this is where you're going to know what works best for you. Okay, for those of you who have taken the brand identity profile, and if you haven't, there's a link at the end of that worksheet. If you've taken the brand identity profile, you can think about your celebrity and your community types, and how can you actually nurture these connections? if you are a rock star, you most likely don't have a lot of energy to put into like going and having lots of conversations with people, right? But you can, if you intentionally, set up your social medias, you can nurture your connections simply by showing up inside of one place where you post one thing and it reaches hundreds of people rather than like the one-on-one conversations. And using social media in that way can also be powerful because Facebook can bring them back up for you rather than you having to intentionally go and reach out to them. You can just comment on their posts. One of my biggest nurturing strategies is interacting with other people's social media and like showing up with them in that way, because that's where they are showing up for themselves. And so if you show up there, then it's like you get your name in their space over and over and over again. And that is a good thing. Now, what systems can you put in place to help? Do you need to just create like maybe templates for you to send to someone after you meet them? Like, like I said, like, hey, it was nice to meet you. I loved that we talked about this. Let's connect further and see like if we can, form some sort of relationship here, right? Or maybe you need to say, okay, I need to take screenshots of people that I meet and I need to put it in a file. I need to come back to my file. Or I need to use my ClickUp and put people's names and get their information. I need a form that after I meet someone, I can say, hey, would you be willing to fill this out so that I don't lose my connection with you or whatever. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. And so this is just a question for you to know, what systems could you put in place? What do you know actually works for you and your brain? Okay, so I'm gonna hop you guys into, hold on, stop sharing. I'm gonna put you guys into, what are they called? Breakout rooms. Find how to do that. How do I make a breakout room? There we go. Okay, and so I'm gonna just create, how many of you are here? Let me see. I wanna make sure you guys can actually get through it. Hey, look, you guys have a chance to network. Funny. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 6, can't count, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I'm gonna break you guys into like, basically there's gonna be 3 of you in each room. And so I want you guys to just quickly kind of consider, what's on this template and some of these questions and talk about, what's your biggest takeaway and what can you do now to actually start networking in a way that feels good to you. And so let's see, we create this. We're gonna have people connect that don't know each other. Sorry, guys. Sorry if that bothers you. And if you end up in a room where like maybe the other person's not like active, I think you can come back. I don't know actually if you can or not. I'll make sure there's an active person at least 2, 7 in each room. Okay. At that room. Perfect. Assign. Okay. Okay, good. You guys. Okay. Delete that room. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you guys go in there for 7 minutes. We're going to hop back in and then we'll wrap it up and let you go. Does anyone have any questions before we go into the breakout rooms? Julie can't speak. No problem, Julie. There'll be other people in the room that can speak, I think. All right, no questions? Perfect. All right, well then, I'll see you in a few minutes. Everyone's got another 10 seconds. No, they'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, awesome. So something you could do right now, take a screenshot of your device, and then you can go actually connect with all the humans who were here today as part of your follow-up strategy that you will come up with for yourself. Katie, what's on your shirt? The Doors, says the Doors. Yeah, very good. All right, so let me get just the end of this. So I'd love to hear just some of the takeaways, like maybe just one or two takeaways with, what you're going to go do now differently than you've been doing so that you can, build your network and your skills networking.
I'm going to take solace in the fact that I don't have to always initiate the conversation and that I don't have to reveal anything about myself if I don't want to, and that I can deflect with a question because I've been told all my life that's rude. I'm like, no, it's not. It's preserving my energy. So
yes,
that is my biggest
takeaway. That's awesome. Good. Anyone else? Just one more.
We were talking about social media and setting up boundaries so that it's not exhausting.
Yes, I love that. That's such a good one. It's a really, really good one. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so the last thing here is just, we do this call every single week. Next week, we are doing, I'm trying to find out. Next week, I am doing it again. Normally it'll rotate between Beth and I, but next week I'm doing how to take your design, your amateur design to look more professional in your business. So we're doing DIY design stuff. I'm gonna teach you some actual design principles and then show you some of the cool things you can do on Canva that actually help you create more professional designs on a regular basis without having to hire a graphic designer. So I want to make sure you don't have to hire me to do anything. It's the same exact link. I'm going to just pop the link for it here in the comments so that you can just sign up. It's every week when we do this, it is the same link to register, but the registration it's not open until this event is over. So here you go. You guys can register for that. And if you are in the space where you are ready to take your brand to the next level or want to know like what kind of things we can do with you on the back side, a lot of you are in some of the programs we're in already. But if you aren't, you can book a discovery call with us so that you can discover what it is we could do on the other side for you. Hey, so grateful that you were all here today, and our hour is up, so I will let you go. Does anyone have any questions before we leave? No, lots of no's. Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.